Hello everyone, welcome to another session on Zeitgeist. The last two chapters that we have discussed were from Module 1, which was on Indian Constitution and Secularism and related ideas. The next chapter that I am going to start is from Module 2, and the Module 2 is in fact the discussions about sustainable environment. Sustainability is one of the much discussed topic these days. Okay, it is basically about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So it is about we have to meet our needs, okay, but we should not steal the demands that will be there for the future generations. Means we have to take only ours, not that has been stored by nature for future. Clear with that? So that is about the concept called sustainability. The concept of sustainability, you can say it is based on or it is composed of three pillars. One is economic, second one is environmental, and third one is social. Okay, economic, environmental, and social. And in informally, it is known as profit, planet, and people. Okay, so what we are discussing in our in our discussions of Zeitgeist is the second one, sustainable environment. Environmental sustainability is defined as a responsible interaction. Responsible, the interaction should be responsible one. Responsible interaction with the environment to avoid depletion or degradation of natural resources and allow for long-term environmental quality. So the key words are: one, responsible interaction. There should be a responsible interaction. And why exactly we are going for a responsible interaction? Because we have a care or we have a concern for the future. So we don't want to deplete, completely destroy that the nature has in its store for future. Okay, so thereby there is a long term maintenance of environmental quality. Okay, so all the three chapters that you have to study in this section related to this particular concept called sustainability. Okay, environmental sustainability includes you can say, this is something very something you can say like very scientific, or in the scientific circles we are discussing about it very often. Okay, it is about a shift to the renewable resources, then protect the health of ecosystems, avoid excess pollution, intergenerational decisions. Intergenerational decisions is to make economic decisions based on long term consequences and target welfare and not just GDP. Okay, so that is concept that we often relate to sustainable development. So this is all about the concept called sustainability. I want you to have a kind of a broad out view about the concept called sustainability, so that we'll have a better understanding of the chapters that we actually discuss from the section. Okay, now moving on to the poem. Before I give you an introduction about the poem, I think I should give you an introduction about the poet. Okay, the name of the poet is Giv Patel. He is a poet, a playwright, a painter, and as well as a practicing physician. Okay, and as it is given in your textbook, he belongs to a group of writers who have subscribed themselves to Green Movement. Name of the movement is Green Movement. He is attached to that, he himself is attached to that movement, which involved in an effort to protect the environment. This particular movement called Green Movement they have involved in an effort to protect the environment. Another thing that you have to keep in your mind is that this particular poem on killing a tree is from a collection. It is included in a collection titled Poems, okay, which is in fact launched by the famous poet Nazim Ezekiel. So you can just remember these names as it is they are given in your introduction, okay. And the poem is basically about the cruelty of man to trees, thereby to you can say that it is a symbolic of the cruelty that man actually does to the nature as a whole, okay. So that is what is discussed in the poem. And there is a sense of detachment in the poem all throughout the poem. Once we read that, you will understand that. And also there is a use of irony and sarcasm in the poem. Poet tries to equate trees with that of human beings. So the entire process of killing a tree is somewhere or the other we feel like it is very close to the process of killing a human life. The step-by-step process in annihilating a tree is minutely explained, or you can say described in the poem. Annihilating means you can say utterly destroying, totally destroying a tree. That is explained in detail in the poem. So it is basically about it. The poem raises the issue of mindless deforestation. It is given in your text on page number 37. Though the poem provides step-by-step instructions for destroying the tree, its implied message is against killing the trees. Of course, that is very clear from the passage. The poem underlines the resilience of nature in spite of human violence against it. Resilience means the capacity to recover quickly, no matter how much trouble is in fact being caused by human beings to nature. It is resilient, and that is the idea that is discussed by the poet. Patel employs irony and sarcasm. I have already discussed the concept. He uses irony and sarcasm in the poem to convey his anger against environmental degradation or destruction. He is in fact angry towards human beings, and that is discussed through these methods. You can say that he is employed in the poem. And however, the poem is open for multiple interpretations. Another way, yes, it is obvious, it is very clear that the poem is about environmental degradation, destruction, or you can say deforestation. But on the other side, other interpretations are also possible, for the poem. And one of such, as mentioned in your textbook, is it actually speaks of persistence. If you want to eradicate a problem, if we really want to eradicate a problem, in our life, you should be persistent. You should have that quality of persistence. That is also there. Continuously, despite of all the troubles that are there against you, you have to continue with that. Then only you will be able to solve that particular problem, and source of problem needs to be removed for its total eradication. You have to remove the source of the problem, and that is why now I'll explain that when I go through the poem. That is why the usage called you have to check in for the roots, and you have to uproot the root. That kind of usage that is there in the poem. But that is just one way of interpreting the poem. But the poem is basically about, as it is obvious from the title itself, it is against the concept called environmental destruction, or you can say deforestation. Okay, yes. And towards the end, the last section, you can see on page number 38, the language is simple. The language means the diction. Okay, it is simple, and it is remarkably evocative. Evocative means it actually brings a strong sense of images, or you can say memories or feelings to the mind, to our mind. Okay, when we go through the poem, when we read the poem, strong images and strong memories or strong feelings are generated. That is why it is called as an evocative poem. Then it is basically a commentary on a major environmental issue called as deforestation, as I have already mentioned that. Then next point, the tone of the poem is flat and dispassionate. Flat and dispassionate means there is no special kind of emotion that is compulsorily generated, or compulsorily put into our mind by the poet. It is very flat and dispassionate, but it is evocative. Okay, and even offhand vary of any attempt to ennoble, prettify, or sentimentalize the subject matter. There is no special attempt that is in fact being made by the poet to sensationalize or sentimentalize the issue. Okay, but when we read it, idea that is in fact there in deep within the heart of the poet, that is communicated. Okay, and there lies the greatness of the poem. Okay, with that, we will wind up our introductory remarks on the poem, and now in the next video we'll go for a detailed explanation of the poem. Okay, thank you and take care.